Greetings, and welcome back to Brick and Lantern. Today we're going to be taking a step back from all the doom and the gloom in the hobby, but we're still going to be building a robot because we wouldn't be a Brick and Lantern video without a robot. So instead of a super robot, we're going to be looking at a super awesome robot from the Gundam franchise. That's right, we're taking another step back into the world of Gundam, and especially the SD models, similar to the Zaku 2, which should be up on screen now if you haven't watched that one yet. But this is the EZ8 from the 8th MS Team OVA. This is piloted by Shiro Amada and is one of my personal favorite mobile suits. Ever since I built that Zaku 2 model, I decided that it's time to give it a Fetty suit to fight up against, and even to stand side by side with, as we see now on my shelf. I'm looking at these models right now, and the EZ8, though it was a little difficult, and there's still some techniques that I haven't quite gotten down with it yet, has got to be one of the things I'm most proud of on my mock shelf right now. The color scheme was a very hard challenge. This is not like a typical Gundam model. This is white and dark blue. Dark blue pieces are very difficult to come by, and they haven't printed all the pieces that I had wanted in dark blue. Like, I really wanted the 2x1 wedges, cheese wedges in dark blue, but they only do them in white. So we're gonna have to make some color substitutions and imagine a little bit with this model as compared to the Zaku 2, which is a little easier considering it's a monochromatic yellow color. But speaking of Zaku 2, the frame design, the frame interior, so to speak, is exactly the same. These SD models are really nice when it comes to the frames because it's the 2x2 round plate with the bars on the sides, the clips all over, and kind of you still use those nozzle pieces and those ball joints the same way that you would with the Zaku 2 model. So actually the Zaku 2, in building that mock by that mock builder that I will have credited in the description, I can't pronounce their name, building that mock really helped me in terms of designing this frame because all the proportions are very, very similar. And even though we don't have a cool, uniquely printed headpiece like that Buzz Lightyear piece, that I will probably be buying some more of that set when I get the chance, we have to build our own head. I think the results are still amazing, and even they really stand nicely side by side together. But we're going to take a look at the armor core right now, which is again that piece that we just built. It's got two nozzles, bar clips, a couple of 2x2 rounds, a lot of tomfoolery with hinge plates or bracket plates on top, and then those 2x2 with ball joint plates. So really, it's a pretty simple construction, and you build the rest of the frame onto it. I tried to make the frame in the color as close as I could. It was a lot of looking at the image of the EZ8 from the 8th MS team, which there are surprisingly few images of. I think there was a really good quality gunpla model that I started, I think HG, that I started basing the model off of when I was building it. The head design is really tricky, but the arms and such, pretty simple. I think the problem that I had really was the head and the color scheme. And we'll get to the head a little later on because I want to make sure that I show you exactly how we built that head frame. It's pretty difficult, but I think we came across some unique solutions of how to fix it. And really why I put so much time into this build was because 8th MS Team is one of my favorite UC series. I'm sure a lot of you UC Gundam fans will say the same thing. It's pretty easy to get into in terms of the timeline. The conflict's pretty condensed, and really this suit is a showstopper when they bring it out against the Goof Custom. If I was able to build that Zaku 2 in blue, we definitely would have seen a Goof Custom build or something like that. Maybe I will go into the future, repurpose that Zaku 2 build, and actually make it into the Goof suit. So please, let me know down in the comments below, do you want me to make a Goof Custom? Do you want me to make any other UC suits in the future? Because I really love this scale, the 200 or so part scale that we use for these Gundam mocks. It's really easy to make expressive suits like this. It's also pretty cost effective for me right now as someone who has been trying not to build Gunpla because of the fact that I'm so invested in LEGO. It's very difficult to say, let's build Gunpla and LEGO at the same time. We're taking a look at the arm now. I used a dark blue plate on the front of the arm and then a white plate on the top of the arm. I was thinking about using the 2x2 or 2x3 slanted wedges, the ones that you'll see on the shield later on, but I think they're almost a little too bulky. If this model was a little bit larger, those would definitely be working as very nice shoulder plates. I know a lot of Gundam mocks have been using those shoulder plates in the past. It's not exactly to scale of what I want, but maybe there's some other workaround solution that I can use instead of those 2x1 plates in dark blue and white. this is most of the dark blue detail we're going to get on this model. There's going to be a little bit more on the feet, but surprisingly, and a little disappointingly, they almost don't have enough dark blue pieces to make the EZ8 perfectly, especially with how little dark blue the suit actually uses. I think that the solutions that we use in this build for dark blue are pretty good. I mean, honestly, the dark blue pieces even weren't the most expensive when we get to Bricklink. I'll talk about it a little later, but you'll be surprised with what the most expensive piece in this entire build was, and spoiler alert, it is not actually on the mech suit itself. It's one of its accessories that I used. Yeah, so in going back to the idea of building more suits, I think one of the next suits I'd really love to tackle and would be a huge challenge is the Zeta Gundam. This is a suit that transforms, and if you've seen the design, it's pretty crazy. So we're moving on to the head now. The head is probably the most difficult part of this build for me. It took me several tries just to prototype the head before I even bought pieces for it. We're using some 2x2 brackets or headlight bricks with the 2x2x2s almost. And what we're going to end up having to do is making a 1x3 for the front eyepiece, because the front eyepiece is not symmetrical and it's almost laid back into the head a little bit, and it makes it very difficult to think about the EZ8's head and how it's constructed. There's no V-fin on top like a typical Gundam, but it's much more, almost like a mohawk. I like to think of it as that top red piece. And also making the head entirely circular, I have a really hard time with this. The original Zakumak was very easy to do this with because you just had, it's very simple, you just put the printed piece on top. This one, it's much more, we have to construct it, especially if you want to get that semi-inlaid look that the original EZ8 has. It was a bit troublesome for me when I was prototyping it. This is the first solution I've come up with. I had to build the head even before I filmed because I was fiddling around with it so much. And even this head design isn't the same one as the one that I built originally when I first put this together. Because obviously I don't want to get on the video and be fumbling around with the head the whole time. But I think it's pretty great, in my opinion. Please let me know down below what you think of this head design, but I think it's pretty elegant compared to some of the other heads that I was testing out. Especially with that tiny little radar or antenna on top. I'm really happy with how that looks. It's pretty cute, all things considered. And just, the one thing I also found difficult was the EZ8 has a little crate in it, and I ended up taking off the eyepiece, as you can see now, and actually putting in two 2x1 plates in there, including a black 2x1 grill, to simulate what that grill looks like and what that face profile looks like. So please, go down in the comments, let me know, is this head good? Do you see any potential small details I can fix with this? I'm really looking to improve this mock over time, especially I was thinking about reusing it in the future, but this is the current EZ8 head we have, and I'm pretty proud of the way it turned out. What is the EZ8 without some accessories, of course? I want to try to get that dark blue shield on there. I definitely think that the shield is one of the most important parts to the suit. I wasn't able to get any 08 stickers. I will try in the future to either get a label maker or do something with the 8th stickers so that I can get them on the shield there. There is also one other accessory that I'm really, really happy with the way it turned out, and that is the container rack on the back. And you'll see that a little later. Right now we're just putting the feet on. Again, wasn't able to get the dark blue pieces I wanted for the feet. I know the feet are all dark blue, but we end up kind of making a compromise at the end and putting on some white cheese slopes instead of the dark blue ones I was hoping that had existed. So, LEGO, if you're out there listening, please make me some dark blue cheese slopes. And I could have used the 1x1 slopes. They're actually pretty expensive right now, so maybe if I can go back and get them. I think I had them in my cart and there was an order mishap, I guess you could say. So I'll be looking for those in the future. But right now we're just getting the accessories together for this mock, and we're going to be going ahead and putting all the parts on. I really like doing this this way. I really like doing the mechs this way, where instead of saying, oh, let's build and put on the parts separately, let's actually build all the parts and then put them on together and kind of make this it's alive, the type thing from Frankenstein, rather than making it over time. I think it's much cooler to see it come together all at once. Now, I really like the original mock builder had this great system with all the nozzles and the headlight bricks, 4-way headlight bricks. I'm very, very happy with the way that it turns between suit to suit. It gives everything a very unique profile, but also kind of keeps them in that SD or super deformed mode. So if you're like me, you like the small builds that have a little bit of comic and a little bit of character to them, I think that this SD style is definitely one of the best. Flipping over, you can see the back. We've got our spot for the accessory on there, which we're going to be putting our container rack on. If you've ever looked at an image of the EZ8 without the weapon container, that is what the rack looks like, and I think that making the rack look like that is one of my favorite workarounds that this model has. It looks just like the real thing. I think maybe a 2x2 tile on the back would be nice, but even then it would stick out a little too much. So that's the completed EZ8 as of right now without accessories. You can see a lot of the head right now. I think the head is the one thing that I'm going to be looking to improve over time. It definitely makes the silhouette. It's a little chunkier than I would like because of the restraint of not having a completely smooth head, but all of the wedge pieces, all of the tiles really make it look as good as it's going to be able to look. Right now, I'd love it if they printed me a nice head, but it is on the size of the Zaku head, as we'll see in a moment when we compare the two. But that is the question of the accessories, of course. What are we going to give this thing? I looked long and hard and thought about what was in the show and decided it would be a great idea to give it its iconic blue and white shield that clips on its arm, as we see in the battle against the Goof custom. Again, another amazing piece that I was able to find with that wedge and just a quick little tiny shield construction that you'll be able to see in a second here. 3 or 4 pieces, clips right onto the arm. Simple, elegant, and I think it captures the charm of the SD scale. And then the most expensive part of this set is actually the beam saber that I built for this robot. The beam saber uses 3 pieces, and they are in pink and a gray lightsaber hilt. But the pink rod, the pink lightsaber blade, apparently has only come in a few sets, and it cost me about $1 for just this pink rod. That is the most expensive part of the set. I think it ties everything together. Obviously, the SD EZ8 needs a beam saber to use in combat. I'm not a huge fan of building guns, and maybe I'll go back in the future and say, okay, let's build a bunch of Gundam scale SD guns so that the EZ8 can have a weapon that it uses in the OVA. But right now, I just don't have the skill for it, and I think that I like the melee weapons much more, especially with its posability. I mean, look at this thing. It can strike any pose you want. It's so cute. Like, it's just adorable. And then you bring in the Zaku 2 from the back, and yeah, they're not exactly the same. The Zaku 2 definitely takes better advantage of the prints. I like its head construction a little more, but side by side, these things are about exactly the same. I think that the Fetty style, the Fetty wedges and shapes, the tough geometry definitely comes through much better on the EZ8. Obviously, the Zakus are a lot more curved, so I think that both mocks capture the style of the machines. There's definitely some techniques that I'm missing on the EZ8 that I would love to learn, so please let me know down in the comments below if you're a Gundam fan or just see something in the build that doesn't look quite right. Please just let me know if you have any ideas, but I think this thing is great. And going on to another great thing, I just want to say thank you so much for your continued support of the channel. If you have any ideas for future videos, please leave a comment down below. Just seeing all the discussion, talking with all of you in the comments, and looking at the videos and the continued growth, it's really, really exciting. It just makes me want to make even better videos and keep working with all of you to really create an amazing community. But until I see you again, take care, have a great night, and stay safe out there.